The room is silent until it isn't. A scream slices the air, raw and ancient. Fingers grip the bed, knuckles white. The smell of sweat mixes with antiseptic. Somewhere a voice says softly, "Push." No other animal suffers like this. A chimpanzee gives birth in minutes, barely making a sound. We take hours, sometimes days. And even now, in sterile hospitals, childbirth can still kill. So why would evolution, the master of efficiency, design us to suffer so much at the very moment life begins? The answer is older than humanity itself. It's carved into the shape of our bones, forged in the first steps we ever took on two legs. And once you know the truth, you'll never see birth the same way again. But to find that truth, we must travel back to a world where birth was effortless.
40 million years ago, our ancestors lived in forests so dense the sun barely touched the ground. They swung from branch to branch, hips wide, birth canals open, labor swift and safe. Birth was an event, not an ordeal. But then the earth shifted. Forests thinned. Grasslands spread like golden oceans. To survive, some primates stood upright. And over thousands of generations, the pelvis tilted forward, the birth canal narrowed, and our bodies transformed into walking machines. Walking gave us speed, it gave us endurance. But it also planted the first seed of pain. And the real catastrophe would come when nature decided to make our heads far too big for our bodies.
2 million years ago, the genus Homo lit the fire of intelligence. Stone tools clinked under the sun. Language began to hum between campfires. Ideas traveled farther than our feet could carry us. But with this leap came a swelling brain. From 400 cubic centimeters to over 1300. Newborn skulls grew large, too large for the narrow canal evolution had already built. Other mammals, their young stepped into the world ready to run. Ours, helpless, fragile. Heads wreck oversized cargo in a tunnel made for something smaller. It was a dangerous mismatch. And yet, we survived because the human body hides a secret passage. A passage shaped like a labyrinth of bone.
The human birth canal is no straight hallway. It's a twisting corridor, a corkscrew that forces the baby to rotate like a key through a lock. First the head, then the shoulders, each turn perfectly aligned with the widest angles of bone. It is an engineering miracle and a curse. Every twist adds hours of labor and layers of pain. If the rotation falters, lives hang in the balance. Before medicine, this was the cliff edge every birth balanced on. And to survive, humans evolved something no other great ape has ever needed. Birth became a team effort.
40,000 years ago, a woman in labor was never alone. She was surrounded by sisters, mothers, skilled elders whose hands had delivered dozens of children. This was not mere comfort, it was survival strategy. Humans are among the only primates who routinely give birth with assistance. Without help, the risks were too high. In the flicker of firelight, our species wove cooperation into its very survival. And from necessity came ritual, and from ritual came meaning. But when you wrap danger in meaning, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes sacred. In ancient Egypt, women squatted on carved birthing bricks painted with protective goddesses. In Mesopotamia, amulets were tied to ward off spirits. In medieval Europe, candles glowed as herbs steamed in copper pots. Every culture saw birth as more than biology. It was a crossing between worlds. But no matter how many blessings were spoken, the danger remained. Not until the rise of modern medicine did mortality begin to fall.
And yet, even with scalpels and anesthesia, the shape of our bones and the pain stayed the same. So scientists began to ask, why did evolution let this flaw remain?
Mid-20th century anthropologists called it the obstetric dilemma. Narrow hips for walking, big heads for brains, and no easy way to have both. But newer research suggests something more fundamental: metabolism. A mother's body can only sustain the growing energy demands of a fetus for about 9 months. Past that point, birth is forced, ready or not. We are the product of two immovable limits: the size of our bones and the energy our bodies can give. Pain is not an accident, it's the price for our intelligence and our survival. But maybe pain isn't just the price, maybe it's the point. Pain is a signal, urgent, primal, impossible to ignore. In childbirth, it may summon help from the community. It may trigger the hormonal surges that make delivery possible. It may even have shaped our empathy, making us a species that responds to suffering with care. If that's true, then pain in childbirth is part of what made us human. But today, with epidurals and C-sections, we can mute this ancient signal. And if we silence it completely, evolution will take notice.
In some countries, more than half of births are now by C-section. What once was a desperate, risky procedure is now routine. This safety is a miracle, but it also changes the evolutionary pressures that shaped us. Over centuries, without those pressures, our babies could grow bigger, our hips narrower. In a world without technology, such births would be fatal. We may be shaping a body that can only survive with machines. And if birth stops testing us, will it still bind us together? From the treetops of our primate ancestors to the sterile glow of a hospital ward, every birth carries the same ancient signature. Hips built for walking, skulls built for thinking, and a passage that tests both. Pain is not a flaw. It is the mark of the journey. And maybe that's why the very first thing we do is cry. Not just to announce we are alive, but to echo every mother before us who paid the same ancient price. Because to be human is to begin in fire and to emerge carrying the light.